Today I'm joined by two-time New Zealand national champion Kalani Marra. Thank you for joining me. Start off, can you kind of describe how you fight? Are you quite an aggressive fighter, defensive? Do you pick your punches? What would you say?
I'm kind of an all-round type of fighter. Like to work on my stuff, but I can say I can box in pretty much any circumstance. So if I can box going forwards, I can box going backwards. Working on the pocket right now and sitting in the pocket in exchanges. But I'm quite a diverse fighter. But yeah, that's how I would say my style is.
Yeah, I mean, you're still obviously really young still. Can you explain the feeling of
Yeah.
being the national champion? Like, how is that?
I mean, so like for me, but in my opinion, for being a New Zealand national champion, my focus has always been on the guys at the top of the game. So it was never like I was never looking at the national champions around here. Like when I became a national champion, I didn't look at myself and be like, oh, I'm the best in the world. Or I was as soon as I won the national title, I was looking at who's the world champion, who's the best in my division. So I mean, when I won that national title, I mean this year, to be honest, a lot of people expected it.
Yeah.
Um, but that added pressure of stuff. Um, but I mean, to be honest, like it wasn't expected when I first started this sport from a lot of people, but from myself, I always knew I was going to be able to do this.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you did come up short in the semi-final in November. Can you kind of talk me through like how you're feeling on that? Obviously, there is obviously other avenues for you to get to the Olympics, but like, how was that loss? Like, how did it feel?
Ah, man, that was utterly disheartening, eh? Like really disheartening, and how close that fight was. 3-2. I let that fight slip away because of just reasons. He was he on that day the judges decided to score it that way, but man, like I should have boxed better than that. I know I am better than that, but that's one of the learning experiences that I did gain from that, and that's just to just like trust your gut and trust your instinct. But I was so devastated. But again, like you said, there's more avenues for the coming Olympics. So as soon as that fight finished, I was thinking about, okay, what's going to give me the best opportunity to be able to get to the Olympics, and wins the qualifiers and wins the next one. So it instantly just switched everything. It was just focusing on, okay, what's next? How am I going to get there?
Yeah, I mean, leading on from that, like, how does actually qualifying for the Olympics work? Like, what other avenues do you actually have? How does it work?
So currently we got another qualifier. So there's one happening in Italy. I'm not going to touch too much on why I'm not going to be going for that one. They're not taking anyone in my weight division at all. That's all right. It's safe to say, that's my division.
Yeah,
But there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. But I mean, my focus is to just perform so that we got in Thailand in May. That's a
yeah,
qualified. If I reach the semi-finals, I believe at the qualifier, that's when I'll get my ticket to Paris. So that's honest. I'm focusing for May. That's what I'm focusing on right now.
yeah, perfect. Well, what initially got you into boxing, and how long have you actually been boxing? Was there someone who kind of got you into it, or?
This is actually a very interesting one, and a lot of people are very shocked by it. It's like WWE. And as a kid, yeah, I was a massive WWE fan, and I was a troublesome kid at school. I did, get into a few fights when I was younger. Not proud of it at all. And looking back at myself then, I would help that kid out. But I mean, I guess I've always wanted to do it. I remember asking my mum when I was a little kid to box, but she never let me because I was playing rugby league, and the other sports, and trying to become, in New Zealand, like an All Black, what everyone dreams of, right?
Yeah,
But when I was 15, I kind of just like finally found the gym. I snuck into a gym, and my mum told me off for it. But the coaches just wanted me to get into. But yeah, WWE, honestly, just like the thought of fighting it, seeing it back in the day, watching those fighters that you've seen, just like the blood and punching back and forth.
mm,
I just loved it. I loved that thought. And then I knew kicking kind of wasn't my thing.
yeah,
Uh, so I was like, maybe I just do some boxing and do that. And so that's kind of how I fell into it. And literally first day in that gym, I pretty much gave up the rugby as soon as that happened and just focused 100% on boxing. Just became obsessed instantly.
Yeah, I mean, like WWE, it's all about like the massive crowds and like the spectacle. Like, I imagined you kind of want to fight in the huge arenas, then one day in front of like 60,000.
Yeah, I'd say I'm a person that loves the camera. Like I love the limelight. A lot of people when they can be great boxers, but when it comes to fighting on the big stage, they
Mm,
get a bit like a deer in headlights. But I
yeah,
feel for me when the cameras are on and there's more people there and you can hear the crowd, whether they're supporting, you or they're supporting the other person, going against you. They want to see you win, they want to see you lose. I feed off that and I love it. And so yeah, that's my focus. My end goal focus is pro and fighting in front of as many people as I can, and doing something that not a lot of people say they can do.
yeah. Obviously, you've been mentioned quite a lot by the New Zealand national team on social media. Like, how does it feel representing your country on a global stage?
To me, that's a massive, massive thing. So I think as a kid, when you think about it, right, growing up as a kid, even for you, maybe back over in England or whatever it is, like just representing your country, you grew up and you used to idolize those people that represent your country, no matter what sport it is. You looked up to those people and you were like, holy, I want to be like them one day. And to be the first one in my family to ever represent New Zealand,
Yeah,
my family, that means a lot as well. Like putting on that fur and having the country on my back, like, and knowing that I'm out there, I'm the best in the country, and I'm there to represent the country. I try to do them as proudly as possible. It's a massive honor, and I'm proud to say that can do that.
yeah. I imagine Paris is at the top of the list, but like, what are your overall goals for 2024? What's in mind?
My overall goals for this year is to expand myself on the social media, use that social media to obviously create platforms for the boxing,
Yeah,
and potentially as well start my pro career this year. That's a massive thing right now. Just in getting a couple of little connections, traveling over the world right now for training, and getting to know some awesome people and some well-known people. So I'm just creating these connections so that I can set that path and become ready for that. Because in reality as well, I already know the pro style is more suited for myself anyway. So
really. I was gonna say that obviously you've got nearly 300,000 likes on TikTok, 11,000 followers on Instagram. Like, how important in today's day and age is it for like an athlete to grow your social media presence?
well, you can see it. You can just see it wherever it goes. I don't want to just be one of those guys though that are on social media that are known as just a guy with a lot of followers. I want to be able to back up my fighting skill with it. But if you can see in this day and age, social media is a massive, massive like door opener, and especially becoming from the side of the world where this never happens.
Yeah,
Social media is the thing that's going to get me the relevancy to be able to fight on these big stages, or at least get recognized from these big people. So that's why I'm using it, because it's giving me connections to be able to do what I'm doing now, like go overseas and train in different places and being able to do that. It's giving me the opportunity to do that so I can expand myself, because at the end of the day, myself is the business as well.
yeah. Perfect. Can you kind of talk me through a week in your life? Like, how often do you train? What kind of train? I know it obviously changed, but like, what is a typical week for you?
A typical week. So, if should we just say like back at home when I'm at home, or should we say like when I'm so back at home? I'll say I used to work 3 jobs.
Really?
Um, yeah, so I used to work at 2 gyms, two like normal gyms, like as a trainer. And those would start. My day would start at 2:30 in the morning. To a lot of people, that is crazy, yeah. And they don't believe it. And some people think it's stupid, but it's like you have to make time at the end of the day. Like I don't have the blessing necessarily like some other countries to be able to just live and breathe being an athlete. So we have to just make do with what we have. And so yeah, my day would start at 2:30. I would get up and I'd go straight and I would train, and usually it's a cardio session in the morning, like a run, sprints, any type of sprints or running, or some conditioning session. I'll go to work at about 4 o'clock, 4:30, and I'll work all the way through the morning, all the way to about lunchtime. And after that, from about 1 p.m. to about 2:30. And doing recovery, whether it be saunas, ice baths, Normatec gear, all the recovery in the world, as much as I can because of the training that I'm doing as well. Because I always fit in the training. We have like a little break at certain stages while I'm working, and I usually train in those breaks as well. And then after I've done that, I head usually to the boxing gym where I go and help teach some kids boxing and work with the youth kids to try bring them up and just help some little kids and inspire some kids to box and train. And then my training starts at 6:30, and then we'll get that's boxing training, and some nights we'll be sparring, then tech work, skill work, and then I'll be home by say about 9 o'clock at night. So I left the door in the morning at about 3 in the morning, and then getting home at about 9 o'clock at night. It's pretty hectic, but I mean, it's giving me these type of rewards, so I'm happy for that.
Busy life then, isn't it? I have to ask about the 100 kilometer bike ride. Like, how did
Yeah.
that come out? Was that like for conditioning? Like, how did it happen?
Nah, so like I've always been a person that's just like eager to push the body and the mind. So I know boxing is my main focus, but I've always like the thought of being able to be like a multi-sport athlete that's able to just jump from sport to sport and be not just like being able to do it, like actually compete at it. So this like over the summer and when it's like back in New Zealand, like when the season is finished and there's not much going on, I love to just be in the gym and I love to be challenging myself. And since the gym, we've pulled back on the boxing and like sparring, I still need that kind of adrenaline and that's something that's getting me like mentally like kind of nervous for something. And this 100K, literally, I was just driving home one day from the sauna because I like to do challenges in the off season.
Yeah.
And like the week I got back from that Pacific Games, actually, I did a 50-kilometer run, an ultra marathon with my friend. And that was no training at all for that. I just got out there and just did it. And that was the goal, is to push the mind up here. For me, doing this 50K run or this 100K bike ride, for me, that's that mental challenge that is like that scary thing. But for what I'm trying to show is like, I'm not a runner. I'm not a biker. Like I don't bike at all, but this 100K bike for me could be like a walk for someone. And I'm just showing that no matter what it is, you can do it. You know what I mean? It can be scary, but you can do it. And that 100K bike, I was literally just going and I was like, I've never done a bike before, like of certain distance. And I heard a lot of people talking about Ironmans this year. And I was just like, let me give a 100K bike a go. And then I just put it out on the social media. I got a road bike from one of my sponsors. They supplied that for me to let me use that for that weekend. And yeah, then as soon as I put that up, within 3 days, I was out there biking 100Ks. And that was a journey. And to be honest, I could have done it faster. Right? I was just a bit skeptical of like the distance. It was an untapped distance for me. So yeah.
Yeah, that is insane. I was going to ask that kind of like, how do like your sponsorships work? Like, how do they come
Um,
up through social media or?
Yeah, a lot of them come through social media, but then also connections because I found out with being an athlete and especially in like the sport of boxing as well or anything, it's not about what you know necessarily, it's about who you know. And getting to meet and getting to be close and it's creating a good connection with people. So not being an all-around good person. If you're a good person and you treat people with respect and you are who you say you are, at the end of the day, all they can do is just support that. And I like to pride myself on work ethic, and I wouldn't talk it if I didn't believe that I do it. So everything that I do, I pride myself through that work ethic, and a lot of people just see it. And when they see something, someone just at least striving for something, I'm happy to find people that want to see me do well because it is like from where I am, no one wants to try to do that. It's untapped. It's an untapped area and I'm trying to do it. And they're seeing me would put the effort into it, so they're just trying to back me for that. And a lot of them come through the social media. Like this is one of my sponsors right here,
Yep.
Mox, a credit card company. How they came about is I actually used to go to school with one of their sons who just became a close friend of mine, and he's seen my socials because obviously we grew apart as the years went on, and he moved away. But he found my social media, and then he's seen that I was having struggles with funds, And then his parents' company just came on board and have been just like an absolute blessing to help out with all the sponsorships and stuff like that.
Right, that is good. Obviously you mentioned rugby. Other than boxing, what other sports are you into? Do you kind of watch a lot of sports outside of boxing?
If you're from New Zealand, anything with a rugby ball, that's a massive thing, right? As a kid, I played rugby league, touch. I represented all at national and as well made like New Zealand teams for that as well. So have always been a sporty kid, loved like athletics. And since I became a personal trainer as well, and found the gym at a very young age, I love the thought of just lifting weights. I don't do it anymore at all. But I like CrossFit and also like Ironman. So I'm looking to potentially do an Ironman at the end of the year after the Olympics. And my goal is to not train for it. But that's, again, it's like that 100K bike. It's one of those challenges. But yeah, anything that is to a lot of people scary and like crazy, I love to. I'm a person that if it's a challenge, I'm going for it. Like any challenges, put it out there. I'm gonna try to do it. Yeah, that's just me. I love seeing what can neutralize me. What is something that I know I can't do. Maybe being on a soccer field or a tennis court, stuff like that. Those aren't my sports, but I'd happily give it a go. But yeah, I want to become a multi-sport athlete. That is the end goal as well. And not just be decent at it, be, one of the tops as well.
Perfect. Obviously, over here, football or soccer is massive. Like, would you say that you've got a favorite team?
As a kid, actually, my dad was an Arsenal fan.
Okay, so
Yeah. So I didn't really know much about the soccer, but again, like my dad he would only watch Arsenal like back when they were like in their prime, right? And where they went on those years. Obviously that hasn't been too good over the years. But no, I'm an Arsenal fan through and through. And for the international, I've actually always been a Germany fan.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I've always liked Germany for some reason. So yeah, every single time World Cup's on, I make sure I tune into a Germany game. So yeah.
Perfect, yeah. And then just kind of towards the end, outside of boxing, do you watch a lot of boxing yourself, or do you kind of try to shut off from it, or?
Nah, I'd say I'm quite obsessed with this sport.
Really?
I watch film every single day. Literally when I'm at home, my boxing's on the screen like 24/7, even if it's just in the background. I'm always watching boxing, whether it be amateur boxing, documentaries of fighters, training of fighters, or pro boxing. Like I watch it religiously. Like it's on my screen more than anything else. And a lot of people can get annoyed about that, but I love it. And I could sit there and just watch it for hours on end.
Perfect. And to close it off, then I'm going to ask you for two predictions. Then, can I get a
Okay.
prediction for Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou?
See that one there. I'm backing the boy AJ. He's gotten a lot of slack over the couple of years,
Yeah,
but nah, 100%. You got to back Anthony Joshua just for what he's done. And to see what Ben Davison is doing, he's kind of bringing that younger Anthony Joshua back when he first came into the pro ranks. Obviously, with that No.1 fight, yeah. Francis Ngannou, no doubt. Obviously, he can just flick a switch like that, and we could have the biggest upset in boxing history.
yeah.
But I mean, I'm backing Anthony Joshua. I'm always going to back it. Like, I'm never not going to back the boxer. So yeah.
And then last one, Tyson Fury versus Usyk for the Unified Championship.
You see, this one here is I've been sitting on the fence with this one because there's a lot of people, and now like it's now become like a 50-50 fight since the Ngannou fight, right?
Yeah.
But my thought was behind that, as you've looked at any of the other Tyson Fury's fights for that, and everyone says he's come off the rails after that fight. Like he didn't look good. He's past it. But and to be honest, the Usyk fight was signed before the Ngannou. So I thought maybe he knew he was going to win that fight. Yes, it wasn't deceiving. He knew he was going to win it. So what was a good game plan at the end of the day, right? Is to kind of trick people into thinking like, oh, he's fallen off, and potentially get it to Usyk, obviously watching and seeing that. and to try to play some mind games because Tyson Fury loves mind games.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I did think it was kind of like a paid type of situation to obviously earn some type of money, but also a mental tactic. But me, as a boxing purist and skill wise, and just for the fact of Usyk, trying to be undisputed in 2 weight divisions, I have to go with Usyk. He's a southpaw, so am I.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Usyk, but if Tyson Fury wins again, he's gonna be in the talks with Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, those type of people. So yeah. Usyk though. That's how I'd say.
I'm back in Fury. I can't lie, but
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. He's a good old lad. He's a funny guy. And he's got a massive boxing brain. But I'm definitely gonna be on the Usyk. I might even put a little bit of money on that one as well.
perfect. Well, thank you for joining me. I do appreciate it.